Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. General Motors dropped a bombshell this week, announcing plans to close 5 plants and eliminate some 14,000 jobs. GM apparently shifting gears towards SUVs, pickups, crossovers, and away from passenger cars. The Ford Wayne assembly plant, perhaps in a good position. The Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra are assembled there. For more on how the GM plan, what it's all about, and how it could impact Indiana, let's get some perspective from IU Kelley School of Business Associate Professor of Operations Management, Rod Parker. And Rodney, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk. Big announcement, obviously, part of a massive restructuring at General Motors. 5 plant closures, 14,000 jobs cut over time. Is this about essentially consumer demand?
Yes, it is. Consumers have spoken with their feet. Back in 2008, the market was around about 50% passenger cars and 50% trucks, SUVs, crossovers. By last year, 2017, it was 35% passenger vehicles, 65% trucks and SUVs. And so consumers have spoken with their feet, and GM has been losing money on passenger cars for a long time. And so they've finally bitten the bullet and have made this announcement.
Yeah, obviously some pain at a number of those plants closing, and the folks are going to be laid off there. But as you look here at Indiana, it's early in the game here, but look at the Indiana plants, the General Motors truck plant, for example. As you look at that truck plant there, would seem to be perhaps positioned well for where GM's headed.
Absolutely. They make the Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra, as you mentioned. These are very good selling and very popular and profitable vehicles for GM. For instance, part of this announcement was GM is going to discontinue 6 passenger car models. In the first 9 months of this year, the total of those 6 models, they sold just under 200,000 units. The Chevy Silverado alone sold 424,000 over the same time span. So it's that facility is pretty well placed, given that they are making these trucks that are so well received.
Right. Any thoughts on Bedford, a long-time General Motors plant there?
Well, they seem to have a product mix. They're making parts that are going for truck transmissions, but they also some parts going to passenger cars. So there may be some remixing of their production, but I think they're probably going to be sticking around as well.
And this move to SUVs and crossovers has been coming for a while. Ford, 6-7 months ago, had a major announcement. And here in Indiana, as you look at Honda and SIA in Lafayette, those plants too are in that game.
This is true. At Subaru, they make the Outback crossover and the new Ascent SUV. Toyota makes the Highlander, the Sienna, and the Sequoia. They are well placed, and there are 2 very popular cars made by Honda in Greensburg, the CR-V and the Civic. So all of them seem to be fairly well placed to going forward if this consumer migration towards trucks and SUVs continues.
Very interesting. As you look at GM longer term, this restructuring expected to free up maybe $6 billion by the end of 2020. They're really doubling down on autonomous vehicles and electrified vehicles.
That's right. GM's spending around about $1 billion a year on autonomous vehicles. 2 years ago, they purchased an autonomous vehicle startup in San Francisco, Cruise Automation. They've apparently been doing wonderfully. Google's Waymo unit is still #1, people say, but GM is doing very well. Most people say that they are only second to Waymo. And so that's probably going to be a step towards a ride-sharing service that Mary Barra, GM CEO, said they were going to launch next year, a ride-sharing service, because that will be extremely profitable for them.
Very interesting. We only have about 30 seconds left, but as you look at this plan, on balance early on here, you think it's a good move for the company?
I think it is. I think for a long time, they have been using incentives to push the money-losing vehicles, and now finally they've bitten the bullet, and I think it's past time, and I think the stock market response on Monday reflected that.
Very good. Rodney Parker, the IU Kelley School of Business, some great perspective on this major announcement from General Motors. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right.